Hi everyone. So my name is Jamie, and I am so excited for today's video. As you can see, it's a screen recording because I want to talk about something. Kind of want to continue the conversation of Too Much Tash's video that she recently put up called "Cost Per Use," and she basically took her last 7 years of makeup use and she tracked her use of products that she probably started from brand new, and she tracked her use from beginning to end and kind of came up with this cost per use. I think she used like the market price that is currently that she could find currently, so you're not looking at outdated and old prices, right? But this is kind of the chart she came up with, which I think is a really interesting take, I think, on this whole consumerism talk, right? Like underconsumption, using up what you have, our panning community, and in talking about like what does it look like to actually like budget out some of these things. So I kind of want to continue the conversation because I think the way I use makeup is probably very different from how she uses it. The way I purchase makeup is also different from what she had assumed on the spreadsheet. And so just to kind of talk about those little nuances and then kind of actually make my own list for things. So first of all, her list is very thorough. I am in awe really of this effort that she's made. This is like 7 years in the making, right? So hats off to you, Tosh. A great job. I think I was going to copy this over and like manipulate it in my own way, but she locked this spreadsheet down, rightfully so. Um, and so I'll be kind of just extrapolating from her numbers here and kind of guesstimating for my own little exercise. And she has a lot of things on here that I also use, but some things that I don't. So, but in terms of what she has on here, she has both drugstore and high end, not for every category, but I think most categories. So I think a lot of people can also kind of do this exercise on their own as well. And I think it gives a good idea of like what is in like kind of the differences right between like drugstore and high end. What she doesn't include on here is like the amount on each one, so like the breakdown like by milliliter and things like that, which I think for me at least is a very interesting conversation because lip glosses, which I have gone through a lot of in the last year, I've had a 10 milliliter lip gloss from even a 15 milliliter one, right? For like $10. And then I've had like a 4 milliliter lip gloss that is market price like $18. So I think there's a lot of nuances to this that she did mention in her video, but of course you can't completely address through just one person's makeup use. But I thought I would at least add my kind of take on it. So she also did a page here of full face options, which is really cool. So again, this is like you purchase full price, and this is kind of the breakdown that she has in terms of like four different faces with different amounts of product and like high end versus drugstore. So that was a really cool effort by her. I think thinking about my own use, my makeup comes a lot from like using discount codes, right? I have things that are on discount. I have things that I've bought used, which I'm trying not to do anymore, but that severely like discounts the price there. Like just the sales that go on, all that stuff, right? So I feel like the costs, like the actual retail value that I get a lot of my products at does not match up with this and is a little bit lower. But I think for the sake of this exercise, I wanted to kind of draw from her like full price, like prices here, right? I think that just is fair. So, um, so I did my own little spreadsheet here, and I'm gonna actually, actually I'll leave that one, but I'm just gonna move this down just a bit. Let's see if I can do it without messing anything else up because I wanted to highlight different things. Okay. So let me expand this just so we can all read it together. All right, so first of all, I kind of extrapolated a bit. I actually tried to film this video once already and it didn't go super well. So, kind of refilming this. So, basically, I first thought about like, okay, what do I think I can budget, right? I sometimes ask myself the question is like, if I could rent a full face of makeup, how much would I be willing to put into it? I don't know. I mean, like $5 seems cheap for a full face of makeup, but if I do 20 phases of makeup a month, um, thus extrapolating 240 a year, like $5 times 240 is a lot, right? So I'm like, okay, for my discount loving frugal person self, I really would only like to spend about 240 if I could rent makeup, right? Like $240 a year for this like self-care of makeup. Spending $240 a year, like that's a lot up front, like sticker shock, but $20 a month seems manageable, especially if it's just like in the name of self-care. So that's about $1 for every makeup application. I put $2 here just because I was like, maybe upper end, like I could maybe finesse that, right? It'd be a little punch of the gut, but for the name of self care, I would do it. So then I listed out all of the products that I use, not including tools, in my daily makeup routine right now, which is like 16 products. Seems like a lot, but I've gotten it down to a routine. And using her spreadsheet, I this is what I came up with. Some of it seems a little bit more than what I would pay for, to be honest. But I think going off the numbers or a spreadsheet for the purpose of this exercise, these are the numbers I came up with. So I think if I wanted to reach the $1 mark, I knew that I would need each product would have to only cost me about 6 cents a use. Obviously, those are not the numbers here. Primer is honestly the most expensive here, which I'm not super surprised by because I feel like the amount of primer you use is similar to what you would use for like moisturizer or serum. And we all know we go through those just like water, right? Almost. So primer is not surprising to me, but I do often get mine at discount, and I often get like I'm not afraid to use like sunscreen as primer as well. So I feel like a product that comes in sunscreen is often a little bit more. So I feel like my actual cost per use is less. But I think for the sake of this exercise, I just pulled the number from her sheet, which is down here, which is the 33 cents for a drugstore primer. And then from I'm not going to go through everyone. She didn't have blush or cream bronzer on her list, so I just kind of I think I used an estimate from a cream highlighter that she had and just put that in there. For foundation, she didn't have she didn't have any drugstore foundations on our list, so I just took her numbers and just lowered them a little bit because I have been using more expensive foundations as of late, but I'm not opposed to drugstore foundations, and I've like got those at discount. So I just like went ahead and went a little bit lower. Powder blush and powder bronzer was similar. She didn't have any I don't think she oh no, I think she had one drugstore blush and bronzer. Um but I've been using kind of high end ones like MAC products, so that's why mine were I just went ahead and put mine at the upper end. Face powder, she had loose powder here, and all of these were pretty high end. So I just went with a little bit of a lower number as well, just because my face powder is from the drugstore, and I got it at discount as well. Concealer, I used her numbers, and then eye primer and eyeshadow, I used her numbers as well. Mascara, I think I went ahead and used her numbers in here. Yeah, kind of like a drugstore price there. And then brown mascara, I lowered a bit because about half of my mascara, because I actually used my old mascaras as brown mascara once, my mascara has quote expired at the 6 month point. And I've also tried other methods of like extending the life of mascara by using by separating into like two bottles so that I can use one bottle over a year instead, using the two bottles, or using like a mascara brush and like cleansing that every day, and sanitizing that every day. So I feel like my mascara cost per use is actually lower. Mascara is honestly just like it's such a waste of money because there's like it comes with like 9 grams of product and you can only use it for 6 months. Like you will not use 9 grams of mascara in a month. So I feel like something has to change, at least the way I'm using mascara, to kind of lower that cost a little bit. So been working on it. She did not have any lip liner on her list, so the lip liner I'm using right now is the MAC lip liner, and it goes so slowly. So I just went ahead and used my like 6 cents goal there, and then lipstick and lip gloss I pulled from hers as well, just because I felt like it was a fair cost. So all that together is about $1.87 per face. Of course, all nuances aside, I feel like mine is actually my true cost per use is actually a little bit lower, probably closer to that $1 goal that I have. But it's not too far from I think her full face options that she kind of listed out here. A little bit more than the basic full face, but my face is more than the basic full face, but not quite as much as some of these other products either. Um, so yeah, this was really cool. I mean, and then I further extrapolated that to being like daily would be about $1.87, monthly would be about $37, and then annually would be about $4.50. So it's a little bit more than like my wish goal, but I wouldn't say that this is too far off from what I've have spent in the past. I don't track my spending that closely, to be honest. I'm like, I try not to be too nitpicky about my beauty products as long as I'm staying within like reasonable amount of spending and not overextending myself. This year in particular, I'm trying to do like a no buy or like low buy. So hoping to go way under this number, right? She's not taking into account that you already have products from, maybe from prior years. Some products last for years, right? Like you won't finish this every single one of these items in this list all at the same time. Um, and some of them you'll use up sooner, like mascara. You'll be done within about 4 years, while an eyeshadow can last closer to 8 months, right? And some things even a year. Powder blush, man, that's 3 years. Eye primer can be 2 years, So I feel like in terms of it from year to year, it would not be like this. And I think it would be interesting to maybe think through like what would this cost be like year to year as you have some overflow products, as you have some, turnover in some other categories. But that's a lot of nuances that she did not consider here, and I won't be either. But I think mainly I was wondering for myself, like, is this actually reasonable, based on her numbers, that I would be willing to spend $450 a year on my makeup alone, right? Not even skincare. I would like not to is kind of what I'm getting at. I think this 240 number that I came up with originally would be much nicer, and given my couponing and discounts and also just trying to like use up what I have, like I think I'll be able to hit that mark just fine this year. But I think it like if I were to start fresh every single year, I think 240 would be okay in terms of what I'd be willing to spend. And honestly, let's break that down a little bit. So if I did 16 products, um, so it's about oops, yeah, so about like $28 per item. And of course, I'm counting as if like mascara you would use an entire year. So maybe that you can further kind of think that, but that's kind of an estimate, right? I feel like most of the things I listed here, well, maybe not the lip gloss and stuff like that. Uh, Maybe I'll do like no, not monthly. I feel like 6 months, right? So let me divide this further by two. Okay, so $14 an item. This is not real math, but spending about $14 an item isn't too bad, and that brings me closer to that 240 that I was going for. Although that's in a year though. Okay, my math is not mathing all of a sudden, but that's fine. I feel like I wouldn't be too far. I feel like I'd be maybe spending more around 300 if I were to start like brand new, fresh, and then that would I'd be spending about 300 in a year. Um, so I don't know. I think I'm starting just to say numbers and say stuff, but I think all that to say, like especially given like these the prices today, the discounts I'm able to get, um, how much I do enjoy using makeup. Like I think $300 in a year for around $300 in a year for something that I consider as self care, like isn't that bad, but I do have to keep tabs on it, right? Like I cannot let it get out of control. I don't want to spend thousands. I don't want to have more in my life than I need and can enjoy. And I think I don't want excess. I think all these are like over like goals that I have for myself. So anyhow, I hope that you found this exercise somewhat interesting at the very least. If you would like to do this for yourself, go ahead. I will be linking Tasha's video below where she has all her links to her spreadsheets and everything. But I think it's just interesting to think about. Really, really interesting. So thank you so much, Tosh, for putting out this video. Thank you for all your effort towards your video and your spreadsheet. I know it's been so many years in the making. And thank you just for allowing me to just to continue the conversation a little bit, right? And I hope that we can continue to have conversations like this as we continue just to be better about using up our things. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.